Hello and welcome back to Anti-Depressing. Ooh, I love this hype up this morning, Chenele. Yeah, get yourself ready. This is the show where we talk about everything from liturgy
to Lexapro. Hello,
I was
everybody.
so into those dance moves, I almost forgot our entire line.
That's the whole beginning.
That's all I had.
How the heck is everybody doing? We hope that you're doing well. And we're excited because we hope to see you at the YCP conference this Saturday, which is, if you're listening to this,
on Friday, so see you tomorrow.
We'll be tomorrow.
If you're at YCP today, go see Flynn. They're playing music Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
And they're
please,
cutie baby.
I know. Are we going to get to...
I don't know. We never told that baby.
Because I texted her and I was like, is your baby coming?
I know.
I mean... I know that moms love when people are like, is your baby coming? Not
like,
you.
Are you coming? Sure. We already know that. But like, can I hold your baby? Specifically, I'm just wondering.
My phone's like, are you awake? But well, we'll see everyone at the conference. We're so excited to be there. And, you know, we're going to have a great time. We're going to hang out. Please compliment us on our outfits. I think that's most important.
This has been an excruciating journey.
Yeah, because we should get a picture together at the YCP booth.
Oh, yes.
I mean, for sure. Yeah. So we could post it on our social media. And when we do, everyone please tell us how much you like our outfits because like that is the most important thing.
Teetering that line. I feel like we've talked about our outfits multiple times on here, but you know, between like professional, but still staying in our brand, which is fun and young.
Yeah. And I think most importantly,
but we're young, you know?
Exactly. And I think most importantly, the emphasis here is that insecurity never ends. Like, I think that's it.
There it
and
is.
I think that like, I will never stop being insecure and I will always need an affirmation. And that's the point of this podcast is to talk about mental health. So
being Chenele's friend is just like perpetually affirming.
Pretty much, because
that's
I need
okay.
it.
Some people need it. But I will say, Chenele, you're also the first one to hype another woman up.
Thank you.
And I think we all need that. Like anyone, we're like in Walmart and you're like, girl, shoes. Okay, shoes. You're like, you're always
Which
hyping
is my
up.
favorite way to hype anyone up is just to say
something they're wearing.
Just to say something they're wearing because it doesn't even matter.
Sure.
And that's the easiest way to compliment someone. Like you don't have to really say anything.
Yeah, you don't even have to say a full sentence. You don't have to say, I like your shirt. And
it's
also,
the tone.
Do you like it? I don't know. You're just saying shirt in an excited way.
It's the tone.
Shirt.
And
you could be like,
I'll be like, okay, shirt. All right, shoes. Yeah, I'm like, okay. All right. Hi bun.
It's a compliment.
Okay.
If she just says anything about you just as a statement, it's a compliment.
Because like that,
good
when
affirmation.
I'm like, okay, all right, shoes versus like, okay, shoes.
Yeah.
Wow. That's like,
know the tone. But isn't that funny?
Like,
just two words.
Yeah, sure,
can mean
shoes.
Something so different.
Okay, shoes.
Okay.
Oh gosh, that's like, yeah.
It's the same as saying please. We've had this conversation. Words just, I don't know. They're so interesting.
If I've ever complimented you like that, please know that it was probably authentic. And I probably did like whatever you were wearing.
She was authentic. If she said it weird, she was probably tired.
I was probably tired. So, but Jasmine, how the heck are you?
I'm doing really good. I'm very excited for our stories today. Specifically our first story that is just, you know, heart-wrenching. It's putting the depressing and anti-depressing. So I'm excited.
And every once in a while, we got to really like sprinkle, just a little bit of sad.
Yeah, you need to know the updates. We're here for the cold, hard truth.
But before we do that, I'll share some anti-depressing Catholic news.
Please do.
Some exciting
news. Which also
news.
is tied into how you are.
Yeah.
Because I want to check your mental health throughout.
Which is exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm really tired. But our anti-depressing Catholic news is that we are less than a month away from the National Eucharistic Pilgrimage starting. You have heard me talk about this when we announced who the pilgrims are, the folks that are walking the entire way. But we are less than a month away from this whole thing kicking off.
So what date do they start walking for our
Pentecost Sunday, May 19th.
Oh my gosh, that's way less than, I mean, not way less, but it's, oh wow.
Isn't that spooky? So May 19th. Oh, I have my sister's dog for everyone here. Let's see. Yeah.
Hi, Glee.
good views. So anyway, yeah, she just started walking towards me, and I'm like, oh, I'm a little spooked, but she loves watching her auntie work. So, but we're less than a month away. Pentecost Sunday, all 4 routes kick off. Here again is an invitation. If we are going through your town, join us. We want you to be a part of this national pilgrimage because it's going to be great. And it's just going to be fun. And it's going to be an awesome opportunity to pray and be with other people that love the Lord. So so we're a month out, and this is really exciting. And all the pilgrims are excited, and we are just really doing it. And these are folks from all over the country. And
so great.
So it's going to be great. Yeah. And we'll even be seeing, some folks.
It's going to be some guest appearances.
A girl that might just be on this podcast with me. We'll be seeing her during the summer. So
she might be
just going to be, it's going to be pretty cool.
It's going to be great.
Yeah. And then there is a little thing like Pope Francis, said just something small about, some eternal reward gift you can get if you participate in the pilgrimage, but
no stress.
That's just truly up to you if you want to take advantage of that.
It's so true.
I'm not going to put pressure on you because a true faith is not coercive.
That's so true, Chenele. But I feel the lack of pressure in this moment.
Yeah, I just kind of want to put it out there.
I can feel how chill this is.
There is an eternal reward.
That's it. Do you get an eternal reward for also planning the pilgrimage? I feel like you should get bonus.
I should. When I die, and I want God to be hey, I remember, girl.
You provided the opportunity for all of these people to encounter Jesus and to receive a plenary indulgence you did.
And honestly, and I think
and
too,
the Lord, but
we could even segue that into parents, all the people that have prepared, parents, teachers, good teachers, good parents, all those people that prepare for other people to do great things.
That's so true.
Maybe
I thought you were going to say all the people in your life who made you who you are should get one. And I was like, wow, we're really going for it.
This is my acceptance speech.
This is the Chenele affirmation
to
episode.
The gates of heaven. Yeah, no, yeah. So that's our Anti-Depressing Catholic news. Please feel free to join us at eucharisticpilgrimage.org. Check out if we are going through your town. It's seriously going to be so dope. So, and they'll be walking from May 19th to July 16th. So check if we're coming through your area. Steps. Even if we're not, we might be coming near you, and you should join us because it's going to be great. So
it's going to be great. Love it. So and pray for Chenele and all the other people planning.
I know, because honestly, it's not about me, which I like to take the focus off of myself because I'm not vain.
Yeah, we all know.
But I've never been more tired in my human life. So I think this is in a previous life where I was like a lizard or something. Maybe I was more awake. But right now in my human life, I feel like I am almost on the brink of extinction. So I'm very tired. TBH, so my reward, a reward to me would be everyone going. So
that's so true. I just want to give a public warning to all our listeners that we're entering exhaustion season for Chenele and I. The summers in the ministry we do. I don't know if you remember last summer, if you were still listening then. We had an episode that to this day, I don't even remember recording it.
Oh my gosh. We were
literally
sitting
asleep.
That was the camp episode. I think we titled it We're Tired or something.
Yeah, or our most chaotic episode. I don't know. It was.
Yeah, our most chaotic episode because we came home from camp to my house to record it and we were both just
actually asleep. So.
But we do it for you guys.
Just know that we're going to try our best. We're going to skip some weeks probably, to be honest, because I don't know, you guys. I don't know. So send up some prayers, but we're going to be here as much as we can. And we're going to be tired and likely unhinged, but we're going to be here.
We love you. So can't wait.
You want to dance?
I do.
Okay.
I really do.
Here we go. I love it.
Perfect.
Love it. Our first story comes to you from breaking news from the elderly. And that is that Theresa and Golden Gerry have filed for divorce. So if you have been following along with the Golden Bachelor situation, as we have been updating, or that the world has been sharing, they filed for divorce, and I'm here to say that they announced it on my birthday, April 12th, which just feels kind of like an attack. But it's okay. Kind of a scam.
For everyone from a broken home, like, I mean.
I know. And now, like,
kind of
my
like
grandparents
a double, like, push.
Yeah, they really did it up. And I just think it's kind of a scam. You filmed this whole wedding in January, and now it's April, and you're getting a divorce, and you guys are in your 70s. I have a lot of thoughts about this. The thing I think is interesting is in the interview, they both were like, we still love each other. I'll always love this person. This is Gerry's quote. Theresa and I have had a number of heart-to-heart conversations, and we've looked closely at our situation, our living situation, interesting, so forth. And we've kind of come to the conclusion mutually that it's probably time for us to dissolve our marriage. Because remember, these people are in their 70s and not from the same city and are now trying to live away from their children that they've always lived by to be married.
Something that should have maybe been discussed a little bit more before.
Yeah.
Was like, how are we gonna, like, who are we gonna live near? I mean, that's something that folks in their 20s are talking about, like 30s. Like, who are we gonna live near?
Like,
where's our support system? I mean, I get it. Like, you have grandkids now, so you're like, oh, well, I mean, I really want to, like, watch them be raised. So it's like, what? But shouldn't you have
I think it kind of breaks down the whole Golden Bachelor franchise. This is what I think. Because The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, whatever, you guys are like, what? Now there's like 21-year-olds who are like, I've never been able to find love. And they're like infants. And like, you have your whole life ahead of you. So if you marry someone from Dallas and you live in New York, who cares? You guys will figure out somewhere to live. You don't have kids yet. You don't have, like, whatever. You guys will figure it out. Long distance isn't going to like make or break your life. But when you're in your 70s, I just don't know. Like, you're not going to do long distance while you're engaged and be flying back and forth. Like, that's not good for your health. And then also, you got married within like months. So now you're married. So where are we moving? I think they're going to have to do what like Love is Blind did, where the people are from the same city. You know, like there's been certain seasons where it's like everybody's from Chicago, everybody's from Atlanta. I think like Golden Bachelor, you have to be from the same city. So then it takes up that equation, you know?
They're honestly, you're giving them free producing credit.
That's so
because
true.
They're probably going to do that. And honestly, I could see them reframe the Golden Bachelor to become like a Love is Blind thing where they just are all in the same house and they just do it city to city rather than flying people in from other places, because you're right. Like, it is a huge consideration for these people. Like, you have grandchildren, you have older kids that you're like, I want to see them grow up. And you're not as like free bird as someone that's like, all right, I have like parents, but you know, we can live like a little away from them maybe for a few years until maybe we have kids, and then maybe, you know, and it's just a lot more like, it's okay, like,
we
whatever.
Can live here for a couple of years, live there for a couple of years. Like, you don't even maybe have a couple of years. These people are like, oh, you know, and they both
and
have
it's not even like
spouses.
Their kids don't have a couple of years because their kids are like 40, but it's like,
they might not have that long left. Like, it's very sad. And I think it's interesting because I don't remember I think it was Faith that like lived on the farm and stuff. And her whole thing was like, she wanted to kind of stay there. And he was like, oh, I don't know if I could not live by my family. But then him and Theresa just never talked about that. And so now, like, it seems like that's kind of the reason they're getting divorced.
Which, like, he was like, oh, I just love her. Like, and granted, like, love is great. Like, I just love her. Like, we just, you know, kind of, well, like, love, we'll figure it out. I remember in an interview, he was like, we're going to figure it out.
Like, what
Whenever
does that
people
mean?
say that, I'm always like, even people that are younger, I'm like, and here's so we can like truly make sure that this is like not just depressing. My humble advice to people would be, if you're in your relationship and you're like, we're going to figure it out.
It feels like maybe
granted,
it's the time.
There are times to have conversations. Yeah. You want to you don't want to put heat on something all the time. But I think that maybe you should figure it out.
I think maybe it might be time, or at least to have an open conversation about it. You don't have to have the dates set. You don't have to have the plans firm. But I think you should maybe have an open conversation. And I also think to young people who are maybe doing long distance or contemplating dating someone who lives far away, my first thing to say is it's not that deep. Long distance sucks, but it's not that deep. You can do it. There are airplanes. Life's a little simpler. You can make it happen. And then also moves aren't permanent anymore. I feel like for other generations, it was oh, we're moving into this house. We're going to be here forever. You can move somewhere, live for a couple of years, move somewhere else, live for a couple of years. We've just done that. You've done that multiple times. It's okay to just go and try something new. And then if you hate it, to be okay, I was here for a year and now I'm going somewhere else. It's okay. It's okay to take a risk, try something, discern it. If it feels peaceful and it feels like the right thing, then try it.
And try it.
But don't pull a Gerry and Theresa and be we're just going to figure it out and then file for divorce 3 months
because the
later.
chances are,
it's sad.
And and this is going to be intense, but the chances are when you're we're just going to figure it out, you're probably not.
You're probably not. You're probably going to figure out that it didn't work. That's what you're going to figure out.
Because the things that we're putting on the back burner, those are important. We're just going to, his family is from Kansas and mine is from Florida. And my mom is kind of really old and needs my support. We'll figure it out.
Are you?
Girl, are you actually sure you're just kind of not afraid to tell him?
He wants to have kids, but I do, but we're going to figure it out. Things that you guys.
Are you sure you're just kind of not afraid to tell him, or you're not afraid to tell her what you're actually wanting?
Might be scared.
And things could change, but big things like that, at least have a catalyst of conversation of all right, hey, we need to talk about, at least feelings need to be expressed about this is where I'm at right now.
Yes. I agree.
Because I firmly think that Gerry and Theresa were we'll just figure it out. And they were both
we've lived
maybe
lives,
hoping
we're old enough.
Yeah, maybe they were hoping they'd be on the same page.
Yeah,
or when they actually talked about it. Yeah,
and who knows?
But then they did.
Yeah, something could have happened with one of their kids that now they feel they need to be more present. Anything can happen. But, I think they've taught us a lot. They've taught us a lot, and they've probably changed the trajectory of the Golden Bachelor for the future. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. We'll see if the Golden Bachelor turns into A Love Is Blind. And will I still be watching it? I don't know. Honestly,
was it still wholesome?
Towards the end, it was mostly. And towards the end, though, Gerry did start getting annoying to me.
You already knew you had the ick for Gerry, so
yeah. So I don't know.
People should have
listened.
We'll
see, friends. But in positive news, we'll see.
We'll see. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. In our second story, I have to admit, I have only listened to a few songs from this album, and it has been piece by piece. So
no, you've had a very
cannot
hectic week.
Speak on this as deeply. But our second story is all about
the Tortured Poets Department. Taylor Swift released a new album, and it sold 1 million copies within 24 hours. And there's only been 23 albums to sell 1 million copies within a week. And 7 of them are Taylor Swift's. Isn't that crazy? And then this one sold within 24 hours. So kind of wild. I honestly did not. I had to Google and make sure that stat from Instagram was true. Because I was that's kind of crazy. But it is. And honestly, the theme of this album is sadness and anger. So it's supposed to be essentially the stages of grief. And so there's a lot happening, but to me, it's giving sad, it's giving angry, and then a sprinkling of songs about Travis Kelce. There's 2 songs. I would argue 3 where she kind of mentions him. And then 1 song about Kim Kardashian. So we love to hear it. In the title of the song, it's called Thank You, Amy, but K, I, and M are capitalized, and the rest of the thing is lowercase. And I was like, that's kind of crazy because I feel like diss tracks have been a thing. You know, they've always been a thing. But it's been a while since I've really saw like you're obviously dissing this person. And normally it's like musician to musician and they can reply, you know, but it was just like, this is it.
Kim's going to start singing.
Yeah, soon. I know she's going to release an album. So we'll see when the new episode or new season of the Kardashians come out, if there's any conversation about this, you know.
She's going to start a music career. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, Taylor came out with that album. It has been monopolizing every facet of social culture.
That's
so it
true.
Has been everywhere.
If it's on your For You page, it means that you're interested, Chenele. It's happening to you.
Or it could just mean that I follow all these other, even Catholic brands, or not brands, Catholic organizations are using all the songs, which I don't even know the context, but I do know the aesthetic of her album with like the different words and whatever. So I think that's like fun that they're keeping up on the trends.
It is very funny. I like what's happening. But the thing I think is most interesting about this album, and I too have not like deep dove into all of the songs. Like I've just been listening to it in passing. But there's this song called I Can Do It With a Broken Heart that I think, Chenele, you are going to be like, that's the stuff. Because it's all about how like after you go through something horrible, you still have to like do your job and like show up and just keep going no matter what's happening in your life. And for someone whose life has been a little grindy lately, but his job has been a lot, I think this might be your anthem. And there's a line where she says, I was grinning like I'm winning. I was hitting my marks because I can do it with a broken heart. And then the chorus says, I'm so depressed. I act like it's my birthday every day. I'm so obsessed with him. He avoids me like the plague. I cry a lot, but I'm so productive. It's an art. You know you're good when you can even do it with a broken heart.
Wow. I literally thought, first, I mean, for sure. And second, as you were reading that, I thought you were going to be like, wait, read the line before broken heart. You were saying, sorry.
You know you're good. Oh, I cry a lot, but I'm so productive. It's an art. You know you're good when you can even do it with a broken heart.
You know how like not Pulitzer Prize I am, because when you said it's an art, I was just like, what rhymes with art? It's an art. Fuck. I could do it with a fart. Like I like thought you were gonna be like something.
Heart. You forgot the name of the song.
It's like the name of the song.
That's so funny.
Wow.
But I'm like, how often have so many of us felt like that? That like I cry a lot, but I'm so productive. I'm like, that is somebody. Juliana told me, she was like, someone said like, this one goes out to all the nonprofit girlies. And I was like,
I cry a lot, but I'm so productive. Look at what I'm producing. Take it.
Look at what I made you. I'm just crying.
Please.
Doing 4 people's jobs.
I'm producing. Okay. Please.
Look at me.
Yeah, dude.
It's so funny. But yeah, I really like the authenticity of like, hey, I was like doing the Eras tour while I was like crumbling. And everybody was like, woohoo, go girl. She's like, I was
and
like,
she showed up
crying
every day for work
on the inside, you know? And like, there's even a line where it's like, oh, all the pieces of me shattered as the crowd was chanting more. And I was like, isn't that it? Sometimes you're like giving everything. Your life is a mess, but people are like, oh my gosh, you're doing so great. I loved this. I loved that. And you're just like falling apart behind the scenes.
I feel like there's a real testimony here. And I'm just circling it to all of our folks here that work. If you're a teacher, if you're any kind of public service work, if you're a parent, I just think like there is a testimony in there of like you are doing internally horribly. And folks are just like, you're doing great. Like,
you're doing great.
Woo, keep going.
And people just keep asking more of you. And you're like,
okay.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And I don't know how many parents that I've known or how many teachers or anyone in public service work that have just been like, oh yeah, no, inside I'm doing horrifically. But like, I just, like things just never stop being asked for me.
It's so true. If you've worked in youth ministry, tell me this isn't your soundtrack. Tell me this isn't your anthem. Because it is. It is. It has to be.
Keep being productive. So the point here is productivity is pretty much it. That's the only thing that matters.
In our culture, that's like productivity is king. But it's so, I don't know, it's interesting to hear someone process that. Like I was very thankful to like listen to it and be like, oh yeah, like these people have lives, you know? And I think that's like a hard thing for us to understand about celebrities, but then also about like one another, that they have like real things going on. And when you're in meetings and are like, hey, I know you did that and you're a little behind on that deadline, but can you also do this, this, and that? Like, take a pause. Like, just take
people
take
have like
pre-K
stuff
pause,
going on.
and ask like, what's maybe going on?
It's an interesting thing when you find that the world doesn't like rotate around you. It's kind of nuts. Like when you realize that like
people
everything's
like don't have compassion for what you're going through.
Like everything's not a slight to you. Sometimes people are just kind of going through it. And like if someone doesn't answer your phone call, if someone doesn't respond to your text in a timely, whatever timely means, if someone doesn't like, if someone's just tired, whatever it is, like it's an interesting thing to put on the main stage that like, hey, you know, someone might just be going through it. So
someone
and
give
that person like a little bit of grace.
Give people a little bit of grace. Let's be a little patient because you don't know. You don't know what's going on. So anyways, that's a song that's been sticking with me that I feel like is just going to have a lot of lessons for us. Lots to consider that like you're doing great. If your life is like crumbling and you're still showing up and you're doing great. And if no one's telling you like, hey, I see that you're going through something really hard, but you're still like trying to show up for yourself, for other people, for whatever the purpose is, for the sake of like just returning to normalcy, even though things are hard, like you're doing a great job. And that process is really difficult and you are seen, you know?
We love you. We love you.
Love you.
We want you to just, you know, I mean, as similar to our friends at Sesame Street, Elmo, that was like, how are you guys doing? Yeah,
not
like
well.
We want to ask, we want to say here, if you are not doing well, that it's okay.
It's okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It's so true. So true.
You guys.
Are you ready for our last story?
I am.
Okay. All right. Celine Dion, as we know, if you don't know, struggles with stiff person syndrome. Very, very sad. It's like stopped her from going on tour. You can obviously like visibly tell she looks different. Very tragic because the love for Celine Dion runs so deep. It runs so deep in our home. And Chenele and Steven just bond over Celine Dion so deeply. And they're passing on that love to the next generation in the most inspiring of ways. And my daughters just love Celine Dion now.
Honestly, being in the car with your eldest daughter and just hearing her be like I'm playing it because Jasmine and Steven, I mean, just really like millennial parents, just trying to keep up. They're like, how about instead of us searching for songs that you guys like every 5 seconds, let's compile all the songs that you guys like. And we'll add songs that we like that are appropriate. And you guys can we're going to bring you into the fold of liking good music. The only caveat is it has
to be a girl power anthem.
Yes. So we'll bring you into the fold, which is like honestly good. Like start that now. So it's like, but as I was in the car, like playing their family road trip playlist, Celine Dion comes up and it's kind of quiet because like Noelle's talking to me. And so it's whatever. And then we just kind of stop talking for a second. And she's like, hey, can you turn that up? And I'm like, sure. And it's I'm Alive by Celine Dion. So I turn it up and Noelle's like, I like this. Like, and it's been on the playlist, but she's like, I like this. Like,
whenever Celine Dion comes on, she's always like, can you turn this up? And can you roll my window down? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah. And that's how you listen to Celine. Like, that's the way it is.
And only when she gets much older will like her musician father be able to explain why your heart's like, Yes, like that last little bit, which Steven and I always geek over, like that last 30 seconds of the song where she really brings it home, and you're like, yes, and you're like, woo, and Noelle's gonna appreciate it because
it's so good.
She appreciates
they know the lyrics,
the fine arts.
It's everything. It's everything.
Wow.
And I love it. And speaking of children, so obviously this is like a very trying thing for Celine to be going through. And she said, what has helped her like fight against, just like the negativity in her head and just like kind of succumbing to her illness. And she said, above all, the love of my family and my children, the love of the fans too, and the support of my team. People who suffer from SPS may not be lucky enough or have the means to have a good doctor, good treatments. I have those means, and that's a gift. She said, what's more, I have the strength within me. I know that nothing is going to stop me. Which is, truly one of the most Celine Dion quotes I've ever heard in my life. Like, nothing's going to stop me. Of course it's not. But she goes on to share kind of how her children and them being by her side throughout this, which they're like relatively young. I think like in their 20s, and in them just teenage
which one
twins,
of them she had in like 2001, 2003 or which is crazy that they're in their 20s.
I know, so crazy.
How old are we?
So crazy, so old. But it's really sweet, and I just love this because a lot of times I think we look at like having children as like, oh, you're giving so much, you're like constantly giving to them. It's like all sacrifice, and especially just in culture, I think there's like kind of a negativity towards having children and how much it like takes away from parents' success in their careers. And then you look at Celine Dion, who's like the queen of queens, and she's got these 3 children and is very successful, and then is like crediting her being able to continue and like fight for this illness to her children and to them like just being a light in her life. And I love that, the kind of like give back that a child also gives to their parents, and that kind of like, the beauty of them being able to walk with her.
Yeah. You can do it, Mom. And Celine deserves that support because she has really been with us through the years. If Celine did an Eras tour, if Celine miraculously tomorrow did not have stiff person syndrome, and she was like, she did have a residency, but like if she decided to do some sort of grand tour again for some God blessing reason, like it would just rock it. It would just rock the world.
And she had one scheduled and then had to cancel. And like, if God willing, it can happen, and her children could come with her because I know she wants to spend time with them. Like, I think all of us are going.
They should just do a movie.
If they can't do the thing,
Joy's headphones.
I know.
I think we're bringing Joy's headphones. I think Noelle's headphones.
If she actually went on tour, we would be.
We're all going.
We would all be going. We'd all be having a spiritual experience.
We're all going because I would cry. Because even listening to I'm Alive with your husband in your kitchen, when that key change happens, we're all like, gosh,
tears.
that
hits you in your heart. You feel that in your bones. It's so true.
God bless you, Celine. We love you so much. Thank you for everything you've done for us.
Yes, and God bless the parent-child relationship. It's like truly beautiful. Nothing
and that's
better.
Because she's a healthy parent that those kids are like, we want to support you, Mom.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
God
and
bless all the
those
healthy
kids.
parents
That's a
out
hard
there.
thing to watch your parent go through. So.
Parent be ill.
Yeah,
we love you, Celine.
Yeah, we love you. Thanks for
blessing
us.
We love you, Celine. We love you guys.
You guys.
We wouldn't be here without you. And soon we'll be at the YCP conference, which will also coincidentally be our 1-year anniversary of doing this podcast.
Gosh. Yeah, actually, the day after this episode releases, it is 1 year.
You guys,
we should do our highlights someday.
We should.
Like our top
and
episodes.
Honestly,
I don't know.
It's like so crazy. We've been doing this for a year.
It
felt like
guys.
just a couple years ago, someone was like, and someone, I mean, our dear friend, Will was like, you guys should be on a podcast, and we were like, wow, no, we were like in our early 20s, and we were like, no, we just like to talk.
And then he eventually was like, you guys should do a podcast. I'm getting you the stuff. Like, you need to do it.
And we are the queens of Yaptopia, and we finally have a podcast. So thank you for all who believed in us, and thank you guys for listening because we love you guys so much.
We love you.
Because the world might be depressing.
But we are not.
But we are not.
Bye.
Love you guys. Bye.